Welcome back. This is your official sector trends this morning. Now, research is very critical in any organization, any work, be it corporate, government, or even social work. Today, we look into the importance of research and how one can invest in research as well as the challenges associated with it. Now, joining us this morning, it is Karen Mwangi, who is the founder and CEO at Intel Research Solutions. Karen, good morning.
How are you?
Happy to have you around, Karen.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Let's get into that, therefore. Could you give us an in-depth understanding of the importance of research? And let's first understand the scope of work for Intel Research Solutions as a research company.
Okay, so Intel Research Solutions is a market and social research company where we deal with market and social research. So Intel Research Solutions is headquartered in Nairobi, Lavington area, but you have contacts across the country in 47 counties, and you have affiliates in East African countries like Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. But currently, we're working to penetrate in other countries like South Sudan, specifically in Juba.
Pretty much, therefore, Karen, when somebody says the importance of research, let's open that scope today, and especially when it comes to small businesses and then that are really trying to establish themselves in any economy, either in Kenya or any other country. Is that an aspect that they need to understand?
An aspect of research?
Yes.
First and foremost is to define what research is. So research is a systematic way of gathering information to address a certain need. So when you see someone conducting a research, there is a question that needs to be answered or a problem that needs to be solved. And to my understanding, without research and demands, the whole world can come to a standstill because everything is about research. Like for example, if I give you an example, before we had electricity, someone had to do a research, isn't it?
Yes.
For you people to start up a TV company, you had to do research because you need to understand your audience and the targeted market. So research is a very important aspect in everyday life.
Are we saying that any other company, whether you're in business or you're thinking of starting business, there's this aspect of research that you have to invest in? And then, Karen, I'm asking you this question from the perspective of a smaller business that needs to understand its customers, it needs to leverage on the existing opportunities within its immediate environment. Is that an aspect that they have to invest in?
It's very important, first
Yes.
and foremost, especially as a startup company, before you start investing your money into a certain business. It's always to understand threats, opportunities that are in that place. So in that kind of research, you call it feasibility study. If you want to invest, for example, you want to invest in Mombasa, without understanding the market, opportunities and threats are in that place, you'll be targeting the wrong people. So it's always very important before any person or any individual starting a business or a company or whatever it is to focus on feasibility study.
Yes.
So that one you're going to minimize the risk of wasting money in the wrong business.
I know you've run into people who tell you, but why would I need to invest in research when that becomes an additional cost to the overall running of my business? How do you respond to them this morning, especially the smaller businesses that are trying to go it by themselves and saying, if we're going to cut, then research has to be one of those areas that we're going to cut?
Actually, I've come across so many people
Yes.
asking the same question. Why do you want me to invest in research?
Yes.
In reality, I can just go and start up my business and maybe do well. But in real sense, even if someone who does not understand research, first and foremost they say, wacha nifanye research kidogo. So you cannot escape research, isn't it? So mostly we minimize risk through
Yes.
market research. You
Yes.
will find the information that you need before you decide actually launching the product, launching the whatever the service that you want to do. You realize it's very important because you won't have to waste a lot of money in moving from one business to the other. You just invest once in research, that is market research, to
Yes.
understand the market, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have that knowledge in mind. When I start this business, I already have the report, the insights that this is what I need to do and this is what I need to avoid.
So,
I hope I've answered your question.
yes, you have, Karen. So how do you respond to this business? And then would ask you this question then. Do I need to have an internal department for research, since we are touching a great importance to research? Or do I even seek the services of a company like yours, Intel, that anytime when I need these services, that's when they can offer it to me? What is a good balance?
So mostly, actually, in the current world, a majority of organizations and corporate world, they're adopting into having a research department in an organization.
Yes.
But you realize the research done, an in-house done research, mostly it's very biased as compared to sourcing an external, or rather people like us who will come in.
Yes.
as an
Karen,
external
I'm
body
sorry, I'm sorry to
carry
cut you
the
short,
research.
Karen. You're mentioning a very
Yeah.
important point there, that in-house research might be exposed to bias. To bias. Will you talk to me about that? Why so, though?
Because mostly, you see, no, you're in the organization. I'm
Yes.
part of the organization.
Yes.
And mostly, maybe probably, I want to please my boss that the company is doing well. So definitely, I'll conduct research in the interest of the company.
Yes.
But me now, as I come in as a consultant, definitely, I'm coming in. You're coming in as a client, right? So I'll have to do it without biasness to make sure that your needs are addressed amicably and using the research methodologies that is required for this purpose.
Yes. All right. Let's look at it from a local perspective then, Anna. And I want to ask you again to compare on exactly where we stand in terms of recognizing the importance of research, even how I would say the economy reacts to research, even when you go into this specific groups to really conduct your research. Are we in accepting in the country and that we need research, or is when we're trying to catch up? I mean, there is that common phrase that Kenya is really trying to catch up in most areas. Are we trying to catch up when it comes to recognizing the importance of research? And how are we performing when you compare us with the next, with our neighbors?
Let me say that because research started way back, actually, so many years, and we have
Yes.
so many research companies started way back before Intel Research Solutions, and they're still in business, and they're still doing business in research. So that explains that a majority of Kenyans, they understand the importance of research and how important it is to invest in research. But at times we face challenges, especially when we're doing social research, that is opinion polling. When you're asking people about questions related to politics, you see, you come across people who are illiterate. They do not understand the reasons why you're doing the research. So it's up to you now as a researcher to explain the importance of research to these respondents. We call them respondents in field. But a majority, like for example, in marginalized communities, they do not understand the aspect of research, or rather the importance of research.
Yes.
But when we look at it from a bigger picture, we have clients on a daily basis who are looking for research services. So that explains that most people are exposed to research world, and they're actually embracing the research.
Yes. All right, Karen, so when somebody puts you to task to really sort of talk to us about the future of research and innovation in the Kenyan economy, what do you see as going by what you've just told me right now about you recognizing that there's a huge majority of people in business who want to actually rely on that research for prosperity?
You're asking about the future of research?
Yes, and innovation, yes.
When you look at it truthfully, even the schools right now, they're embracing research.
Yes.
And research is finding its way in the minds of a majority of students. They want to learn research. And when you look at it this way, most of us, we learn research in campuses.
Yes.
But right now, research is being introduced in secondary school so that they can understand the primary ways of collecting data and also understanding research. So it's one project to the other. Like, for example, now Inter-Research Solutions has proposed to have research clubs in the counties. We have shared the proposals with different counties so that at least when someone now is leaving high school, they have an understanding of research. Is this something that they want to further in their career? Or this is, even if they're not going to further it as a career, at least they'll have an understanding of what market and social research entails,
yes,
and what it means to conduct market and social research in the current world.
So let me therefore drift again a little bit or up to where we are as an economy. We do know that as of 2020, we got into the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of market dynamics changed. What customers wanted in 2019 is not what they were actually in need of in 2020 all the way up to 2021. And you like to think, therefore, that, well, majority of business people would come to companies like yours to ask you, can you go back to the market and find exactly what our customers now need us to do? In what direction are we supposed to move toward? Case in point, we've seen a lot of intake in ICT because, yes, we were forced to migrate online. Whatever little things that we did in 2019, we were forced to get into them in 2020, especially when talking about the digital economy. So now, Karen, did they come to you? Was there an upsurge or an upturn in the numbers of people who were coming to you and asking you, go back to the market and give us A, B, C, D on exactly how we need to realign? Because that's the only way we can confirm the importance of research in our economy.
All right. When you look at it, 2020, everybody was affected by the pandemic.
Yes.
And we had to come up with innovative ways of conducting research.
Yes.
A primary method of collecting research is face-to-face interviews, whereby you send people in field and have a one-on-one conversation with the respondents.
Yes.
But you see now the country was total lockdown. So which affected most of the projects because we had to put the projects on hold. Because most clients, they prefer face-to-face methodology as compared to any other methodology because it's very effective. Because at the time now you get the chance to interact with the respondents and even probe further and get more information because you have a point of interaction with the respondents. But we came up in other ways of collecting data because life must move on. So we have something we call call center or CATI, that is computer aided telephonic interviews, CATI. So this is where now you have your interviewers in a central location with a laptop, a mic, and definitely they must have a telephone
yes,
and a database of respondents so that they can now contact the respondents and now key in the information. Then later it get analyzed and then we have the reports ready.
Yes.
But we have one challenge with call center because we interview different kind of people from youth to the old generation. So if you're calling a 50-something-year-old person and you want to have a conversation with them, at times they disconnect. So you'll end up not having full information from this quarter of people. Okay, so it's a very challenging methodology, but that is what now we're using because definitely we have to follow the guidelines of COVID-19.
Yes.
So we're trying to minimize people now going to the field and having now the database, interviewers seated in a central location and gather information by the use of telephone. And yes, we've been having people coming to us.
Yes.
like right now, we're doing so much of opinion polls and perception surveys
Yes.
because a majority they're looking forward to 2022 elections. So most of my clients right now, they're aspirants who are looking to be whatever position, governor, the MPs, the women representatives. Those are the people who are approaching us so that now we can go to the ground and get to understand what the common citizens they're looking for as a leader.
Yes.
So that information now it helps them to strategize in their campaigns and also to work on their manifesto. So right now I can say a majority of my clients they are aspirants and politicians who are looking forward to 2022
Yes.
elections.
So how would
Yeah.
you compare the uptake of this research services in your company pre-COVID and during this COVID season? What has been the trend?
What has been there?
The trend, yeah, in the trend in research services within your company pre-COVID and during the COVID-19 pandemic season. Has there been any trend that is worth noting?
Pre-COVID, definitely we used to have so many clients from different markets.
Yes.
But right now, things are very slow in our organization.
Yes.
Because not everybody, actually, people they don't want to invest right now because you cannot even know how long this pandemic will take place.
Yes.
So right now, you can say everything has slowed down as compared to 2019.
Yes. So Karen, when you look at that, what does it speak to then? Because you like to think that now is when majority of businesses, not even now, in 2020, that's when majority of businesses will come running to you and asking you what they need to do to reposition themselves or reinvent themselves within the economy. Is that a disconnect with what was happening in the economy now?
It is a very big disconnect.
Yes.
There's a very big disconnect because I think because of the state of the nation
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so you realize that most clients they don't even have money to invest in research.
Okay.
When you send in a proposal, they'll ask you to wait until later dates. They still are trying to see whether things will change in the country and they start investing in research.
Yes.
Yeah, so things are totally different.
Just talk to me on exactly when you foresee, therefore, Karen, that things are going to start looking up, because people said, well, 2021 was the year that we're going to see the economy rebound. From what you said in this morning, especially looking inward, when do you expect that things are going to look up, especially from inside your company?
A majority is actually they're looking forward to after 2022.
Yes.
Because most are saying even the BVI, it's really affecting things in the country because
Yes.
we actually don't know what will happen. Because if it will come in and change in the constitution, definitely a lot of things might change. So most of them, they're waiting until after 2022 so that now they can start reinvesting again in research.
Yes.
Yeah, so things are really thick.
Pretty much. Everybody just prays that
Right.
things are going to get better, Karen. All right, as we come close to the end of this conversation this morning, could you give me a projection of where you would like for Kenya's economy to be if indeed we are research driven? You're saying, yes, we are there, but then we are not exactly where we need to be.
Sorry, I can't come up again.
Yes, could you give me a projection for your company if indeed Kenya then would move into a research-driven economy?
Definitely, like I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, everything you have to research. You need to understand where we're heading to
Yes.
as a country, and you cannot work without data. So you need to go to the people of this country and ask them exactly, do you feel the country is heading to the right direction? Or do you feel the country is heading to the right or wrong direction?
Yes.
So with that, when you have that in mind, if you tell me the country is moving to the wrong direction, I need to understand, why do you feel the country is moving to the wrong direction? If you tell me the country is moving to the right direction, again, I also need to probe further and ask, why do you feel the country is moving to the right direction? So that is a question mark that needs to be answered. And you can only get the information by reaching out to the citizens of this country. Yes.
Last question, Karen, this morning. So cost is exactly an area that I believe that you're actively trying to address as a company within this pandemic, because indeed research services are needed, but then the economic output is not really going to give you enough markup prices for your services. How are you trying to address that very sensitive area, cost?
Everything it revolves around costing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You cannot work without a cost.
Yes.
So definitely, but it has really affected us because now you have to lower down the costing. Every company has their rate cards in each and every services they offer.
Yes.
So you realize right now we have cut down the cost first and foremost by laying off some people, which is very painful, and also working with fewer people in field. We have contacts across the country because we work with locals, the interviewers. We give them work, we train them, and we collect data.
Yes.
So really, if you're working with 100 enumerators, you have now to cut down to 50 enumerators. So when now you look at it that way, even from the initial stage of planning for a project, the costs must go down so that we can accommodate the client's needs and the client's budget.
Yes. Pretty much. Karen, thank you very much for taking your time to speak to us here at Metropole Television. Your input has been quite invaluable.
Thank you so very much for having me. It was an impromptu, but I'm glad to be here.
Guess what? You're the doctor.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. We take a short break. Once we come back, the economic review. Now, listen, CBK is saying that a quarter of the employees in small businesses, and I'm talking about MSMEs in the country, since 2020 have been working without pay. Why? Once we come back here on the economic review.